Hey, what's up? I'm ChrisJ.Wright. I started the Moment of Truth Straight Talk series to show rawness and relatability through social media, to advocate for mental health through self-care by sharing my life story through my experiences. Heading down memory lane. At some point, everyone experiences a loss or heartbreak, which in many cases, a heartbreak can feel like a loss or death. It's important to be able to talk about these things. That way we share different methods with getting through the healing process of grief. In 2011, I gave my 2 weeks notice in corporate America. I decided to continue pursuing a career towards professional football. About 2 weeks before taking flight to Pennsylvania, my family and I was dealing with the pain of burying yet another family member. He passed away suddenly during a routine surgery in which we all knew at some point could eventually happen due to the amount of surgeries that he would have to get year in and year out. As long as I can remember, since he was a kid, I can remember him having to go to the hospital to get these routine surgeries. And I always thought, man, that can't be good. How long could that go on? And I had hope when we were children. I thought that eventually he would get through this. I thought eventually he would be able to live a normal life and not be the kid that's walking around with the hoarse voice several months out of the year due to surgeries. Now with these surgeries, he would have to get these 2 to 4 times a year at some point. I think when he was younger, he definitely got them a lot more. But I don't know if that was because he was younger and he needed them, or if it was because at some point when he became an adult or older, he just decided not to do them himself. I never asked my mother questions about him going in and out of surgery. I never talked to my brother about it. And there's a point where at some point I wish that I would have spoken to him about his surgeries more often to find out how he was feeling. But I was worried. I was worried for him, and I didn't want him to have to think about getting these surgeries on a continued base. I didn't want him to fear that we would lose him due to these surgeries. And so I kept my mouth quiet. I wanted to make sure he was comfortable, and I wanted to treat him like he was normal, just like the rest of us. As I said in the previous episode, I grew up with 6 brothers and sisters, and he was the youngest. And so he didn't see us going in and getting surgeries. He didn't see us, having any health problems. So I didn't want to make him feel different. So I remember when he was, I think 6 years old, if I'm not mistaken, I signed him up to play tackle football because he was a tough kid. And initially I did it because I just didn't want him to feel different. I wanted him to feel like he can do everything that we are doing. But I said, hey, let's try it out. So prior to him playing football, I would have him put on my equipment, my football equipment, and play tackle football outside with kids that was his age. And in a lot of cases, some of the kids were a little older than he was. And, we would play we would set up different tackling drills, and I wanted to see what he was made of. And boy, did he go out there and level some kids. And this was my baby brother. He was a tiny guy. So I was actually surprised to see him knock kids out. And, those are just little things that I remember, about him. But, not only was he going through surgery 2 to 4 times a year, this kid was also a tough kid. He was outside playing tackle football, at the age of 6, constructed by myself mostly, and maybe one of my other childhood friends growing up. And that was the way we grew up. And not saying that it was right or wrong to do that under his medical circumstances, but we were kids. And like I said earlier, I just wanted him to feel just like the rest of us. I knew he had a passion to play football. I knew he always wanted to do it. He always talked to me and, my brothers and friends about playing ball. And we played murder ball, on the streets and tackle in the grass. And, he was a part of that. So I said, well, let me sign him up. And that's the reason why I did it. He did a great job, so from those tackling sessions outside to signing him up at 6 years old, I think he was, maybe 7. And that's just a testament to who we are, how we grew up as a family, the things that we were taught. I can't imagine what it took for him to get up and do that. I can't imagine what he felt internally, what he felt inside to be able to get up and go out there after surgery, and just a couple of days after surgery, be playing football. Because as soon as surgery was over for him, he was out trying to move around, to the point where he would be out the same day or the next day and talking to people. And he had a very hoarse voice, sort of like the Godfather in a sense, when he got out of surgery, or maybe right before surgery, his voice would be hoarse. He'd be like, yo, what's up? What's up? My name Peanut. And to be honest with you, I love this voice like that. Now, I know it was due to a condition that he had, but I appreciated his voice like that. We all thought it was very cool. It gave him his own little swagger. So we didn't handicap him with his condition. And I think that's exactly what he wanted. He didn't want to feel different. He wanted to feel like us. He wanted to participate in the sports. He wanted to do all these things. So who am I to not allow him to do the things that he wanted to do? Who am I to take that and those experiences away from him? I know if I had his condition, I would have wanted to play ball. I would have wanted to do and feel the same and be able to do exactly what everyone else was doing. Don't make me feel different. So the content that I put out may not be for everyone, but it's for someone. I remember when I got the call one Sunday, a friend and I was at home getting ready to watch some football on TV. We barbecued every weekend, had buddies, homies come over every weekend and chill out with us. And one of my sisters called me. And initially, when I answered the phone, I heard, that she was hysterical. But I thought she was laughing. But what I had come to figure out is that she was screaming and crying. She was weeping. And so, in my head, I'm like, wait, what in the world is going on? Well, she screams and, she tells me it's Nut. It's Peanut. Peanut passed away. Peanut died. And I couldn't really understand what she was saying, but I heard the dying part in Peanut. And that was all I needed to hear. And I put on speakerphone. So my friend that was next to me at the time, he was able to actually hear her saying that. And I remember the mood of the house and the environment just instantly going down. It's almost like everything got quiet. And I remember saying, "Where are you?" And she told me where she was. And I told her, "I'll be up there." And so I hung up the phone. I don't think I properly processed what was happening, what was going on, and what she had just told me. But yet, we were about to go through losing another person in our family. Now, at the time, I'm sure I sat there and said to myself, why me? Why us? Why him? And I don't think I'll ever know the answer to that, but I have to trust that the stars and the stripes aligned and that everything happens for a reason. With all that happening in those experiences in my life and dealing with the loss of my mother and my brother, it's part of the reason why I'm here talking to you today. You want to know why I choose to share these stories? Because I would like to help someone else. When you're going through losses and you don't feel like you have anyone to talk to, or you don't know how to express the things that you're going through, or what to say, because everyone around you, all of your friends, they're not experiencing the things that you are. So every few years, they're telling you, "Man, I'm sorry," or, "Dang, man, how do you get through these experiences? How do you deal with these losses, man? Like, I don't even know what to say. I don't think I would be able to deal with that." But when you grow through things like this, you don't really have a choice. So either you're going to sink or swim. You have to deal with these things head on. Once I arrived to the hospital, my family was already there. My cousins, aunt, uncle. I remember seeing everyone grieving. My sister was still hysterical, trying to figure out what happened. My brother was just fine. At least that's what we thought. He went in for a routine surgery and he lost his life. And I remember the day before he actually passed, he called me. And this brings me back to the reason why I brought up the corporate America thing in the very beginning of this conversation. He called me and he said, "Bro, I'm in the hospital and I have to get surgery. And they want me to sign some papers, but I don't know what's going on." Now, I didn't hear this message until later in the evening. I'm guessing before they were processing him, or, I'm not sure. But I was working, and I worked a lot. I was working really hard, in corporate America. So I didn't answer the phone, but I did get the message, and I said I would call him as soon as I could. Now, when I got off work, I don't remember at what point I called him, but I did call back. And I remember his phone going right to voicemail. And I think I called a few times, but I thought, okay, it's a routine surgery. But this one did feel different. And I was now concerned for the first time. And so when my sister called me and she was hysterical, there was a part of me that knew what it was that she was calling about. But when I answered the phone, it did sound like she was laughing at first. but she was hysterical. I wish I would have picked up that phone while I was working. I wish I would have been able to speak to him for the last time or give him guidance. And it's funny that, through all of that, that shows the type of trust and love he had for me, that he called me and left me a message in terms of, what to do, and that he didn't understand the paperwork he was signing. Now, I won't get into, lawsuits or anything, or what happened and did they make a mistake. But what I will say is that it is unhealthy for anyone to have multiple surgeries throughout the year on their throat. I don't think that that's something that's sustainable long term. And he did it for 23 years. The pain you feel of burying a sibling, the pain you feel when you walk through the hospital and you see your brother laying down on that bed, lifeless, is tough. But I'm glad that I was able to get through that moment. I'm glad that my family was able to get through those moments. I'm glad that we stood strong through it all. Now, I would wish that it didn't happen, but I can't control the things that has already happened. And I wouldn't wish the pain upon anyone. I wouldn't wish that anyone deal with the loss of losing loved ones, heartbreaks, disappointments, or any of that stuff. But it's all a part of life. So there's not much we can do about it, can we? But when you go through those things, I say, use those experiences to help someone else, to help build another person up. Share some of these experiences, because you never know who you might be helping. Thanks for coming along and joining me on this journey of discovery and self-reflection. And I hope through my experiences that I have provided some peace, hope, and perspective that will inspire you to move forward and to become a better version of yourself. If you liked my content, please subscribe. And remember, aspire to inspire before we expire. See you next week. Peace.